Hi guys, welcome to the Rusty Beauty's Garage and to the 1960 Triumph TR3 that we've been working on for a long time. Spring is here, it is almost driving season. In fact, I'm driving my TR6 already, but many people still don't have their cars on the road. So we need to hurry up with this car and finish it as soon as possible so the owner can pick it up and enjoy it for the season. So we've been working on the rear end. Took us forever to take it apart, but we managed. And now Nick is assembling it, my son, but he's also taking his time because he's still going to school, so he's not working full time on it. And I was working on another car until now. So we are making progress with the rear end, but I'm probably gonna show you that progress in another video when we have everything complete from start to finish. However, there's one thing that Nick is not going to be able to do, I know, because I doubt that I can do it, but I can try, and that is to split the rear hubs. You know, these are notorious for being pain in the butt. So we have the axles out, and it turned out that the seals need to be replaced, not the bearings. The hubs were actually in pretty good shape, but the seals need to be replaced because the grease was leaking into the brake drum, and of course greasy brakes don't work very well. For that we're gonna need to split the hub. However, the hub is mated with the axle on a taper, and you know how tapers are. They don't like to split. I already tried on one of the axles. I knew that it wasn't gonna work, but I was gonna hate myself for not trying. So I tried on the press and it didn't work. Well, today we're gonna try the only method that I know that works for some people on the Triumph Experience forum and here and there. Actually, Chef Tash sent me the link to somebody's post who bought everything that they needed from McMaster-Carr, all the hardware, and they made their own puller, and that worked for them. I don't remember the guy's name, but he also put a list of the parts together with the part numbers in McMaster-Carr that you need to buy if you want to make your own puller. So thanks to that person, because that is a great help. You don't need to measure threads and anything, you just order the parts with the parts number that they gave you in this list. So the parts are here. By the way, McMaster-Carr delivers to Canada. I don't know why people think that they don't deliver to Canada. Not only they deliver to Canada, but they delivered in less than 24 hours. I think their warehouse is in Ohio, and I'm in Ontario, near Toronto. I ordered in the afternoon. The next day at noon, I had all the parts here. I don't know when they shipped and how they arrived so fast, but it was great. And it was only $15 for shipping. It was amazing, amazing service. So anyway, let's see how everything works now. Okay, so this is officially the biggest bolt and nut that I've ever held in my hands, probably. I don't know. Well, this one is even bigger. So how it works? The idea is to weld these two nuts together. They don't even need to be perfectly centered. We're gonna try to center them, but they don't need to be absolutely perfectly centered. When they are in one piece, this bigger nut threads to these threads here. These threads though are a little bit damaged here. So I'm gonna need to take a file and fix them a little bit here. Somebody hit them with a hammer. It's not me. I tried pressing them out. I put some heat as well, and I used a hammer, but I used a copper hammer, and I hit only here. I didn't hit the threads. So now we're gonna have to file them and fix them so we can thread this all the way till the end. When this is threaded all the way till the end, and this is welded here, we cut a piece of copper from here so we don't damage the end, even though we're gonna probably keep the nut there. So we're gonna put a piece of copper there, and then this bolt we're gonna have to tighten it, and as we are tightening it, that's gonna push the axle in that direction while pulling the hub in this direction, and supposedly it's gonna split. However, I didn't have a socket this size. I don't even have a plumbing wrench that is good for that. So this is my biggest socket that I have. It's 1 13/16. That's for the front crank nut on a Spitfire. Way too small. So I ended up buying the proper size socket. 2 1/4 inch. That fits like a glove. Okay, but this is, there you go, 1 inch drive, and I don't have 1 inch drive. I have 3/4 drive, so I had to buy an adapter too. So now we have 3/4 here, and I have 3/4 to 1/2 inch adapter if I want to. But look at this, 1/2 inch adapter looks like a baby, and I'm afraid we're gonna break it. But with 1/2 inch I can use my big breaker bar or this impact drive, which is really powerful. So Eugene gave me this. It's crazy, isn't it? Well, but if not, then we're gonna go a size bigger, and we're gonna use my 3/4 T-handle that I bought. That should work, and this is extendable. You don't see it extendable here? Well, believe me, I can extend it by 6 feet. I have pipes in the basement. And also, something else that Eugene gave me, and I never ever thought that I might need to use it, but now it might come handy. This guy. It's a 3/8 impact gun. This thing is like probably, I don't know, Ingersoll Rand, probably $2,000. And he just gave it to me. I'm not even sure I can supply enough air for it. I need to have a bigger hose for that. With my baby hoses here, I don't even know if I can drive this properly, but we can try if we have to. Oh, there you go. Oh my God. Never in my life I thought that I was gonna need something like that. But believe it or not, I think this is stronger than this. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Anyway, that's the idea. Let me clean up the threads here, weld the 2 nuts together, and we're gonna get crack-locking. Okay, so the threads are fixed, and this thing now threads all the way. There you go. Perfect. And the nuts are welded together. Holy crap, what did I just do? Oh, okay. So I'm not gonna remove this nut. I want it there in case things work. I don't want anything to fly. So maybe I should remove just the washer. It's an interesting washer. Or are there 2 washers? Yeah, these are 2 separate washers for whatever reason. Okay. I'm gonna keep them the way they are. Okay. We want to have room for the hub to move, but I don't want to remove the nut completely. So we're gonna make it flush, and this way we are actually gonna press on the stub, on the axle, but also on the nut and on the threads on the side. And because this is copper and this is steel, eventually the copper is gonna arrange itself in a way that it's gonna spread the pressure everywhere. At least that's my non-engineering thinking. So I cut this piece of copper. It fits well here. So now on these threads we're gonna put grease because they are gonna take all the force. Okay. Ta-da! Are we gonna be optimistic? Can I put it on the vise? I'm gonna try with the smallest size and with the gun, because I believe that with impact we have more chance than with just lever, but we will see. Okay, here we go. Did we split it? I think we did. Something happened. Oh, that was it. Okay, let me bring the other one. So let's do the same here now. I'm just gonna make sure these threads are good. Okay. Nobody hit these ones. Good. Now take this split pin out. That's another custom socket that I bought, 32 millimeters, for things like that. Oops. Well, on this one we only have one washer. Gonna put this nut back. Copper is still inside. Do I even need the vise? Let's see if I can hold it with my hand here. Okay, I need the vise. This one is stubborn. There you go. The best tool there ever is. Alright, so that went easier than expected. Honestly, I was prepared for a fight, but it went smooth. So, like I said, I just wanted to get this part ready for Nick so we can finish assembling the rear end, because he's doing most of it himself. So he can continue from here, replace the seals and install new bearings and assemble the hubs, and most importantly, adjust the end play, because after you change bearings you need to adjust the end play again with the shims in the back, and that's an interesting process. It took me a while to figure it out, but we figured it out with Nick, and he did it on his own with just my guidance, so stay tuned for that. As you can see, the car is 99% done now. I actually went for a test drive yesterday, and it is okay, I'm not gonna tell you more than that. I'm just gonna tell you that it is 99% done. As you can see, even the front valance is now installed, so it looks like a car. So stay tuned for these episodes. So that's gonna be everything for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, commenting, subscribing and sharing and supporting the channel. Liking, subscribing and sharing is very important, so I get more people watching, obviously, and that is good for my channel. But what actually pays for my time that I spend editing these videos is you guys. Your contributions to the channel via PayPal and through Patreon are what actually keeps this channel going. YouTube Yeah, it's not nothing, but it is almost nothing. Anyways, I'm talking way too much. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos on this car. Few more are coming now, and soon when she is on the road, we're gonna move to the next project, which I don't know. There's so many here, so we're gonna choose which one we want to start filming next. So thanks again. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.